Benvenuti gentili telespettatori, la postazione è la stessa, il Parlamento europeo è lo stesso, però a noi ci piacciono, come dire, non tanto le sfide quanto gli inviti anche a conoscere il resto dell'Europa. Quante volte abbiamo parlato ad esempio di Svezia piuttosto che di Lituania, di Lettonia, anche di Estonia, però senza mai conoscerli, come dire, in profondità. Allora il nostro scopo è anche quello di spiegarlo, evidentemente per dare una finestra molto importante anche agli altri MEP. In questo quadro abbiamo un ospite che arriva dall'Estonia, il MEP Yana Toom. Thank you to accept our invitation.
You're welcome.
And it's a very pleasure to discover something about a new country in some way.
Not that new.
in sense that it's part of Europe, obviously, and the euro is part of Estonia, obviously, and you have a very digital champion award in this sense, because your country have a digital knowledge and skills in this way. Is right?
Of course, I don't want to criticize my country, but if we look into Eurobarometer, we will find out that on the digital skills we have only 9th place in Europe. We're not the best anymore. But what is true, we have digital state, which means that we can do absolutely everything in the internet, from registration of birth till booking place in cemetery and everything in between.
Okay.
You can vote, you can do absolutely everything just sitting on your sofa, which is very convenient, frankly speaking.
And the citizens appreciate this kind of
yes. But if we're speaking about some group of people, for instance, elderly people who are not in kind of disadvantaged situation, who are lacking digital skills, then it is a problem, you know. If we want to involve everybody into discussion, for instance, about some, I don't know, legislation, then it means that everybody has to be able to use these tools, and not everybody are able.
Some comments from my colleagues when we're discussing about the digital situation in Europe, they say that about Estonia and digitalization in Estonia, they are really few people to arrange this kind of process. You think this is the point? Depends by the population of the country, or depends by what I say, the policy that you take about the digital?
You know, if you're in a small country with I would say, strong German influence from the history, it means that you are able to do things in a proper time and according to the plan. And for instance, like, I don't know, maybe a month ago, Parliament adopted my report on digital education in digital era, and there was a bunch of bad examples. We never point out the countries, but let me be unpolite and say that, for instance, in Italy, there is a huge problem. 30% of schools just do not have internet connection.
And this is a problem.
Yes, this is a problem, of course. For, you know, we see absolutely clearly that digital skills will be the basis for new social division in nearest future.
But in terms of digital divide, for sure, there is a digital divide in terms of technology, for sure. You remember, for example, Italy, that has some problems to have a very ADSL connection in this sense, or if you're looking for a 5G, we are starting for this challenge. On the other side, I think that there is a digital divide in terms of education. People that know very well, for example, the millennials about the new revolution, and the other that it seems that it is out.
The problem is even worse for these millennials. They are, as a rule, pupils, but their teachers don't understand what their pupils tell their teachers. This is a problem, you know. For education is kind of really conservative thing. And our teachers are not well prepared. We don't even have any descriptions of what is IT teacher in European school. So we proposed, and it was supported by the Parliament, that we have to include these IT disciplines into PISA tests. For it's absolutely clear that we know that in upcoming 25 years, 30% of existing jobs will disappear in the European Union.
How is it important, the professional training in this sense?
Absolutely, lifelong learning, and this old paradigm that you go to school, then you go to university, then you get diploma, and then you work with this diploma for 45 years in the same place. It will never happen again. We have to reskill. We have to learn new things. So the main challenge for educational system is to explain people that they will learn the whole their life. It will never stop. For technology is
even to be competitive.
Yes, absolutely.
Worldwide.
Absolutely.
Because the global economy and exchange information and data is important to be competitive in the market.
Yes, and there is a lot of new jobs which are created in the platforms, all platform economy things, all kinds of new business models in the internet, and frankly speaking, we are not prepared for that. We are still somewhere in 20th century.
Regret, you are engaging even with the copyright discussion. It's a very large and tough discussion, obviously with the lobby coming from the great player coming from the United States, for example. And recently we have a stop about copyright depending by the Article 11 and 13.
Yes.
In your opinion, this is a real problem?
Yes, I was very happy that it was stopped in the trialogue. As you know, our Council is a pretty closed institution. We don't know what's going on in there, but now we know that 11 member states blocked it, and it is really good. I'm coming from Estonia, which was a part of Soviet Union, and I was raised up in Soviet Union and studied in Soviet school, and I remember exactly what is censorship. And I have a feeling that people from Western democracies, you just don't have this immunity. You're not afraid of state having influence on what you have to read, what you have to write, and so on and so forth. We are afraid of that. And I really believe that this Article 13, which is speaking about ex-ante monitoring on uploading content in the internet, this is a bad thing.
Okay.
This is censorship. And I believe that it is something very close to what was described in famous Orwell's thing, 1984.
But I think that the copyright is beyond the censor.
Copyright in the internet, sorry to interrupt you, copyright in the internet is already safeguarded. If you post a, video of, whatever artist, it will be removed in 24 hours. It is already there. The regulation is there. This is something about a lobby, but it is not lobby of Google. It is lobby of copyright holders in Europe.
Okay, and in my opinion, even to protect and support the creative industry in Europe.
I cannot agree with you.
No?
For we had like tens of meetings with all kinds of stakeholders, and we spoke to musicians, for instance, who were against this copyright directive. For this is for young people, this is like their environment where they naturally live. And if we block the things, what will happen to them? This is a wrong approach. We have to keep balance. And this Article 11, which you mentioned, we're waiting for hyperlinks, and we have to pay for them. This is not normal. We already had this example in Spain, where they tried to pay for hyperlinks, and Google News just went away from there. But these people who are spreading false information, who are spreading fake news, they will not follow these directives.
Okay, but it's important to create a debate and not to leave this kind of discussion waiting, because as you know, we have the European election in May, and probably this discussion will be delayed to September, October.
Yes, I also heard these rumors that now Council is not going to go to the Parliament with this directive. They will wait until next elections, which is strange in my view. For all forecasts says that next time we will have more populists in the Parliament. And do they really think that populists will vote for these things? I don't know.
In this situation, it could be happen
For me, the best scenario will be if they adopt this this directive, but without Articles 11 and 13. And there is another thing, you know, we are regulating internet from several DGs and from several commissioners, and this regulation is overlapping and contradicting. For instance, before copyright directive, we approved directive on audiovisual media services.
Okay.
And ex-ante monitoring is forbidden there, and now we allow it, which means that it is not implementable. Somebody will go to court.
Just the last question about the council transparency. Why is it so important to give to the citizen all the information, to be clear about the process that coming from the council?
Council of European Union is not diplomatic body. They are co-legislators. We have two co-legislators. One is Parliament, another is Council. Parliament is absolutely open. You can go to every meeting, you can read minutes, you know the agenda, you know the position of
This is an example, because our audience see exactly what's going on
This
here.
is normal, I mean.
Yes.
But if you speak to a minister, you never know what did he say in the Council and what did he not say.
And why?
And when he comes at home, he can say, okay, I was pressed by Brussels, I was against, but now we have this stupid regulation. Okay. But maybe he did not vote against.
We don't have a proof about this.
We just don't know what's going on there.
Okay.
And this is not normal. And especially now, when we have the so turbulent times, when we have Brexit, when we have rise of Euroscepticism, we have to be absolutely open and transparent.
You present a proposal in this sense, just to change this
It was not my proposal. It was proposal of Ombudsman, Emily O'Reilly, who sent the letter to European Council, but they never answered her. Can you imagine? They just didn't answer Ombudsman. And then she came to the Parliament, and then we adopted this report, and it was supported by a large majority of this House.
Thank you, Yana. Thank you to accept our invitation just to discuss very interesting points as the digital, the copyright.
You're welcome.
I think it could be quite dangerous in the future about this situation, and obviously about the democracy and the e-democracy that probably in Estonia you have a very best practice in this sense. Is right?
Yes, and fortunately I don't live in a state where government decides what is moral and what is not moral for me to show to my child, for instance. This is for parents to decide, not for the state.
Is the same state were coming under ANSIP, the commissioner, right?
Yes, but he is supporting this directive. Fortunately, I'm not from his party.
Okay, yes. You're part of a group of ALDE?
Yes, they're also part of ALDE, but I belong to party of Prime Minister, Centre Party, and the Reform Party with Andrus Ansip. They're in the opposition right
Thank
now.
you so much, Yana Toom, to be there, to join our transmission, and I hope to invite you again following the next European election, just to understand the mood about the election in Europe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And grazie ai nostri telespettatori che ci hanno seguito, ci avranno sicuramente seguito con grande interesse, perché riceviamo questo feedback anche per conoscere altri paesi. Alla prossima di 724 Europa.